Toronto, Canada. It has some of the best scenery in the entire world. From that CN Tower owned by Canadian National to the famous Canadian Pacific Railroad. Speaking of which, during my tour in Canada, I happened to meet some of the nicest engines from CP.
Like who?
Well, let's see. There was Kyle, a K1 Northern, Garrett, a G3 Pacific, like me, and Empress, who was doing test runs for a potential charity with the CP holiday train. It was a success, and surprisingly, it's still going on today.
There you two are. Just because the clay pits are closed doesn't mean you can't run off down the line. Come on, Salty and Paulton need your help.
But we want to stay and listen to Scotsman's story about the Candle holiday train. It's Canadian, Paul!
It's Canadian Pacific, you half-wits. But I'm not Canadian. I'm Atlantic.
Mate, I am surrounded by complete idiots.
The island of Sodor is home to the North Western Railway, with engines big and strong from different railways all over the UK and other countries. There are diesel, steam and electric engines that work on the main line, branch lines and industries of the railway. There are tender engines that pull long, fast trains to trams operating through the snow.
George!
Oh, shove off! I'm stuck!
With that being said, I'm your host, Aidan Vandersluis, and welcome to Sodor Rail Productions' 4th annual Christmas Eve special, Bill, Ben and the NWR Holiday Train.
Edward,
asked Bill,
why don't we have any holiday charity trains, like they do on the Canadian Railway?
It's a railroad, bozo.
I don't know, Bill. From what I gather, it was originally planned by Sir Stephen Topham Hatt. But just like most services, it was called off. Plus, with the ban on British railways, it was a good choice on the Hatt's part.
However, I think Sir Bertram was the closest to making it a reality, with blueprints and everything.
Really?
Yeah, if the plans are still around, your best bet finding them is in the Hatt Family Museum. That's where you most likely find them at.
The twins were so eager to find the plans that they left right after the daily workload was done. The Hatt Family Museum was Sir Bertram's house refurbished after his death. Now anyone could visit and marvel at the lifestyle of the Hatt family. Bill's driver did a blood test and found out he was a distant relative of the Hatts. The drivers hurried in and after speaking to the secretary were able to find the blueprints. Proving their inheritance, they leisurely strolled out with the documents.
The sample said I was only 1 out of 64's hat. Just that fact alone, and we got away with it. Oh hey there, Neil. Surprised they haven't moved you elsewhere yet.
Haven't you heard? This is my forever home now. I'm at peace with the universe.
So you gave up everything after Sir Bertram's passing?
After he retired from controller status, being his private escort was everything to me. Now, as he has gone into the sky, I found my time is up as well.
At least you agreed to stay. They just put me here as I was his first car. I'm freezing in this cold.
I hear Bulgy could use some company in the biggest town red museum.
With uncivilized stallion, never.
Out of curiosity, may I ask what documents you have?
I've planned out blueprints, but sadly we can't make too much sense out of them.
Hold on, let me take a peek.
And so they did. Neil stared at them for a bit, concentrated in thought.
Nothing I can make out either. Since I think he based it on Canadian lines, I'd chat with someone who's been there, like Flying Scotsman.
So the drivers rushed off to their engines with the archive papers to relay the news.
To Scotsman we go then.
It looks just like the CPKC version.
KC? What does that mean?
Kentucky Chicken.
What does chicken have to do with the Canadian Pacific?
I'm only joking. That's some American humour for you.
It's not even that funny.
Well now, it actually means Kansas City. Both they and Canadian Pacific merged last year. I'm impressed how the documents have all of the purpose, routes and planned rolling stock.
You may be right, Flying Scotsman. It does look like it can help a lot of people this year, especially with the cold happening.
Plus, Mr. Melvin is always looking for new ways of promoting the NWR. Could you ask him, please? Please?
Pleaded the twins. Their drivers agreed, and that night they spoke to Mr. Melvin.
I took a look at the blueprints that you sent me, and it does look like it can generate a lot of money and help people in need this year. But it may be a bit of late planning, however. I can see what I can do, but I had to talk to Mr. Keith Creel at the Railway's G7 Summit tomorrow for a bit of advice. I can't guarantee he'll give it to us, but we'll see what we can do from there.
The next day, Mr. Melvin arrived in downtown London for the International Railway G7 Summit. Loads of different railway controllers and executives were in attendance, including...
Mr. Keith Creel! Excuse me, may I have a word with you, please? Indeed. Who might you be? Sir Melvin Monroe von Hatt, controller or CEO of the Northwestern Railway on the island of Sodor. Oh yes, I've heard of you countless of times. No need for introductions, my friend. Now, what can I do for you?
Mr. Melvin told the CPKC controller all about his plans for the NWR holiday train.
After looking at these plans, you do have the necessary equipment to run it. But your problem is that you only have one locomotive powering the entire journey from Sodor to the mainland, I believe is what you call London here. I don't care. You see, with our holiday train, it starts off as one, but when it arrives in Calgary, it splits off. One goes over to the US while the other continues west. With your setup that your, I believe, grandfather has started, it just wastes a lot of money and resources. So, what you're saying is, I need to borrow another locomotive from the to power the mainland journey. Precisely.
Mr. Melvin pondered this and started to make some calls. Meanwhile, at Wellsworth, Bill and Ben were shunting trucks when they noticed Jeff the worksman was thunder by with 7 old goods vans and 7 of the old Season's Greetings trucks.
What's going on?
Haven't you heard? Mr. Melvin is planning the official NWR holiday train.
Our train! It came true!
The twins were excited. In fact, all the engines were excited. The journey was to start from Arsdale to East Barrow Station, where it would transfer to the engine from Roseworth to continue the mainland portion. All the engines wanted to pull the train, but it was decided that the one and only Flying Scotsman would be best suited for the job.
Lucky bastard. My ticket to get off this island for the season's gone.
Scotsman is the most logical choice, as he knows Roseworth better. Besides, I had my Christmas special 2 years ago.
Can it, brother?
Early the next evening, Flying Scotsman coupled up to the NWR holiday train at Arsdale Green. Crowds of people and children waved. They jumped for joy as performers sang and danced.
I've never seen so many people in one night. We had to add all of our coaches and quadruple head the train.
Funnily enough, I've actually enjoyed my time with you fellas.
That's a first.
And I finally got to get a chance to shine. It's not a book, but it will do.
Oh, let this go, Frank. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Let the crowd enjoy it.
After the performance, it was time to depart. Flying Scotsman blew his whistle and started eastbound for Knapford. The line was cleared by none other than Diesel, who had learnt his lesson from last year. While he was heading down the line, Scotsman felt something was off, but he couldn't describe the feeling. The first 4 stops went off without a hitch, with many of the donations coming in big and fast. But when the Flying Scotsman approached Wellsworth, it happened.
Ouch!
He cried. His driver and fireman stepped out to find the problem. It turned out that Scotsman's water injector was frozen solid, and he wouldn't be able to continue the journey.
Oh, that's darn it. This train needs to head to East Barrow.
Well, without a train, you won't be going anywhere.
Well, duh.
What about us, sir?
Said Bill and Ben in unison.
We may not be as strong as you, Flying Scotsman, but we can certainly try and get this train back on track.
I doubt the famous Flying Scotsman would even dare to think of you two idiots handling the responsibility of...
Alright, as this whole thing was your idea, but quickly now, as the performance is almost done.
Oh. Well then... Can I tag along?
Be my guest. Someone has to keep them intact.
And so they hurried, with Pacific switching out Flying Scotsman to the relief siding, while the twins coupled up to the front. They had pulled specials before, but this wasn't just old brake fans. This was something special. The whistle blew, and together, the twins tugged and pulled the 14-car Christmas excursion out of Wellsworth. Without Pacific. Wait! You forgot me! Oh, you menacing bees!
They'll be fine. Besides, the Christmas spirit is in them.
Have you lost your mind? In Canada, I assume? Twins scrambled along, their pistons pumping through the harsh weather. Soon, they met their first obstacle.
Golden's Hill is up ahead. We need more coal to make it.
Their drivers heeded their reply and started adding more and more coal. Bill and Ben started to struggle and lose traction. Their sandboxes were nearly out of sand, but they kept on puffing until they reached the top of the hill.
We done it! Hooray! We done it! Hooray!
They cheered as they rolled down the hill. At the next station, they filled up with sand, and even Hastings, in the spirit of Christmas, lended his tender, so the small boiler twins didn't run out so suddenly.
Right, now I'm stuck on this island all Christmas long.
Luckily, the rest of the stops for Sodor were smooth sailing from there. They even reached the mainland 4 minutes early. Soon, they made it to the Roseworth Railway, switching the train to a Roseworth resident. After the performance, the engine left, continuing the journey the twins started.
That was fun! Indeed, the best journey we had ever. We were the ones that set it up and delivered it. I know! I still can't believe we pulled off such a feat.
I just got a call from Mr. Melvin.
What did he say?
He's proud of you both for your hard work and diligence. He plans to continue the holiday train again next year. And as a reward for your efforts, when we get back, you'll be given a nice new coat of paint.
And the twins couldn't help but beam from buffer to buffer. They had helped many people, and truly were beacons of hope this Christmas season.